Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parvicharya Asutra Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charnaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki, प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधारा शिवसती गौर भक्तवृंद की, श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की, वृंदावन धाम की, मथुरा धाम की, नवदीप धाम की, श्री जगन्नाथ स्वामी की, यमुना माई के, श्रीमती तुलसी देवी की, सामवेद भक्त वृंद की, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदी. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pasthaya Bhukla Srimate Bir Krishna Goswami Niti Namne. Namo Hamsani Kashaya Prabhupada Priyate Shrudita Shri Nishta Bentasya Vakyanuvadine. Okay, Hare Krishna and good morning to everyone. Welcome to this morning Srimad Bhagavatam class, and welcome to all our Mayapur TV viewers online and ISKCON Sydney YouTube and ISKCON Facebook. So we are continuing the epic, the story of Kardama Muni and his wife Devahuti. And this morning we are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 23 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And the topic in chapter 23 is titled Devahuti's Lamentation. We will find out later on as we progress why she is lamenting, especially with such a highly elevated husband in a sage. And the text this morning we are reading from is text 38. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nasta Prayashu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Okay. Tasmin alupta mahima priyanurakto priyaya vidyaribhiru pachirna vapurvimane Babraja utkacha kumudganavana pichas Tara bhiravrata ivadupatir nabhastaha Tasmin alupta mahima priyaya narukto rakto Vidyadharibhirupache navapur vimane Babraja utkacha kumudganavan apichas Tarabhir avrata ivadupatir nabhastaha Tasmin alupta mahima priyayanurakto Vidya dharibhirupachi navapur vimane Babraja utkacha kumudganavan apichas Tarabhir avrita ivadu patirna bhastaha Tasmin alupta mahima priyayanurukrakto Vidyadharibhirupachirna vapur vimane Babraja utkacha kumudganavan apichas Tarabhiravrta ivadupatirna bhasta Tasmin alupta mahima priyayanurukta prakto Vidyarbhibhir upachirna vapur vimane Babraja utkacha kumudgama apichas Tabhira nabhasta Tasmin alupta mahima priyayanurukto Vidyadharibhirupachirna vapur vimane Babraja utkach kumudganavan apichas Tarabhiravrta ivadupatirna bhasta Okay. Tasmin, in that, alupta, not lost, mahima, glory, priyaya, with his beloved consort, anurakta, attached, vidyadharibhihi, by the Gandharva girls, upachirna, waited upon, vapu, his person, vimane, on the airplane, Babraja, he shone, utkacha, open, kumud ganavan, the moon, which is followed by rows of lilies, apichya, very charming, tarabhihi, by stars, avrata, surrounded, eva, as, udupati, the moon, the chief of the stars, nabhasta, in the sky. Okay, the translation and the purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, so the translation of this text today is, though seemingly attached to his beloved consort, while served by the Gandharva girls, the sage did not lose his glory, which was mastery over his self. In the aerial mansion, Kardama Muni, with his consort, shone as charmingly as the moon in the midst of stars in the sky, which causes rows of lilies to open in ponds at night. So we can repeat, though seemingly attached to his beloved consort, while served by the Gandharva girls, the sage did not lose his glory, which was mastery over his self. In the aerial mansion, Kardama Muni, with his consort, shone as charmingly as the moon in the midst of stars in the sky, which causes rows of lilies to open in ponds at night. Okay, so the purport reads, the mansion was in the sky, and therefore the comparison to the full moon and stars is very beautifully composed in this verse. Kardama Muni looked like the full moon, and the girls who surrounded his wife Devahuti seemed just like the stars. On a full moon night, the stars and the moon together form a beautiful constellation. Similarly, in that aerial mansion in the sky, Kardama Muni with his beautiful wife and the damsels surrounding them appeared like the moons and stars on a full moon night. So, Mangal Charan. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurue Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrachatam Sagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapt Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, this morning's verse is actually giving us a hint on how opulent Kardama Muni sage was. Even though in the beginning, he was a simple sage in the forest, looking very little opulent. So, it is mentioned here also that his mansion was in the sky. And the word suggests Vimana was actually an airplane. But in the beginning, it was actually a few shlokas ago, it was described that his mansion was surrounded by gardens and beautiful birds and flowers. So just imagine there's an airplane in the sky with a huge mansion with gardens. We don't even know that in this world. We are supposed to be so innovated and highly likened to a very fast age, and we are doing all sorts of things. People are going in rockets and everywhere, but still we haven't been able to get an aeroplane in the sky with a mansion on top of it and flowers and gardens. But this verse is actually describing Kardama Muni obviously in the grihastha environment. So he's being a good husband, and his wife was also dutifully, chastely serving a devotee husband, which is what we all should do. We should serve. That is what Gurudev was saying in the other class the other day. It is actually the duty of every Vaishnava to serve devotees. That's really why we are here, to serve each other. And serving each other means, how do we actually serve each other? Does anyone know? Let's have an interactive class today. Well, anything? How do we serve each other? Yes. Yes. Yes, that's a good one. Yes, that's a very good one. That's called devotee care, right? We care about each other. If someone is sick, take them prasad, help them if they need to go to the doctor's, hospital, care for them. Any other way we can serve Vaishnavas? Yes? Yes, cook them prasadam. Well, if they come to the temple, ask them if they need anything, a seat, offer them a seat if they don't have a seat. But sometimes Vaishnavas come in the temple and we don't know that they're Vaishnavas or devotees. Like, for example, just the other day, actually I might announce it today, worldwide can hear. There is a lady in just across from the temple. She's got a shop, and the shop is labeled something different. So she's been coming to the temple for years now. She's a very old lady, her hair has gone all white, and nobody knows she's a devotee. But she's in her very humble state. She's just coming and going and selling stuff in the shop. And I've come to know her for the last 5-6 years maybe. I didn't even know that she was, coming quietly and leaving quietly. So now her shop is closed or closing and it's up for lease. And she had hired some boys to come and pick up. She's got a lot of stuff in her shop over the years. And, uh, and they didn't show up. She hired somebody else and they didn't show up. So nobody helped her to pick up her things. So I asked her, I said, "You are leaving, where are you going?" And she said, "I'm going to Crow's Nest." And so I said, "How are you going to take all your stuff?" And she said, "Well, I called the boys, the movers, they didn't come." So I said, "We've got some boys in the temple, maybe I'll ask them to give you a hand serving the Vaishnavas." But I said, "What are you doing?" She said, "I'm picking up as, whatever I can." She can only lift little things. She's very old, very, very old. Anyway, if you have time, I know you're busy, you're doing her, book distribution. There was Gita Jayanti on Sundays. But if you want to offer your help, please do. She's a nice lady. But that's what it means by devotee care. If you see someone in need, the point is, I'm not asking you to do it. It's not an instruction or anything. But if you are free, if you'd like to give a hand. But that's what devotee care means. We may not know that such people are devotees. If they need help, just give them a hand. This is what devotee care is about. But also, devotee care is about if somebody is in distress, not just sick, not just needing a chair to sit down, or needing a hand with heavy lifting or something. If somebody is in distress, in tears, could be because someone has died. So offer them some consolation, or if nothing else, just be there and say, "Well, Krishna," say some nice, kind words. "Krishna is here." So this class is not really about devotee care as such, but this one is about not only just about a devotee serving each other, but it's about Kardama Muni, on how he was able to maintain his glory despite the opulences. So what was it so special? Because what Gurudev was saying in one of the classes is, when somebody is given so much opulences, we can easily be distracted from path. But here, Kardama Muni, he shone like a moon. He was described exactly in this Srimad Bhagavatam. He is described just like Lord Krishna. Like Lord Krishna is compared to the moon, and all the gopis around him are like stars. And so, how did he maintain his glory? What is it that is special about him? And what can we actually learn from him and apply to us? If we were suddenly given such opulences, a nice partner with Gandharvas or Gandharvikas, and doing seva, what's going to happen is we might be overwhelmed with arrogance or pride, that we've got this one. But that was not such a case with Kardama Muni. So we can see this. And as you read later on, you will see Kardama Muni leaves it all. His aeroplane mansion, his beautiful wives, those beautiful girls who are serving his wife, he leaves them all and he goes. And such is the case with many of our sannyasis. Did you know that? Our sannyasis who are Diksha Gurus, even Siksha Gurus, Prabhupada's disciples, many of them came from multi-million family. Did you know that? My own spiritual master, he came from a family which is very rich. They had their own private jet planes. And they used to go in their own ship to, was it the Bahamas or somewhere for holidays? It was just very easy for them. They had their own plane, so rich. But he just left it all for Srila Prabhupada. And then what he did was, he came and stayed in the temple in LA or Miami, somewhere like that, and was wearing bed sheets for dhoti. Left everything completely. He had a sports car that he was given by his father, and Krishna arranged to have his sports car smashed, and he tells that story all the time. He says, "My friends drove my car and smashed my car." He had opulences, he left them all. And up till a couple of years ago, his mother was still alive, and lived in Manhattan in New York, so nice, lovely, opulent, one of the richest cities. Still renounced everything. So what is it? What is it that made him do that? What is it that made our sannyasis leave so much and join the Hare Krishna movement and live like, hermits basically. No opulence, no plane, no ship. What was it? Firstly, Tamal Krishna Maharaj says in his class, which I remember, he says that before Srila Prabhupada came to establish the Hare Krishna movement and spread the movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, before Srila Prabhupada came, it was pre-arranged. The set, our stage was actually arranged. Srila Prabhupada will come and all his associates and followers will take birth in various places around the planet. So these souls are somewhat like Kardama Muni here. They are not ordinary. And that is why they can live, they can take or leave any kind of opulences. So whenever we see our sannyasis, we must remember. It's hard to remember because when a sannyasi is here, you're too busy offering obeisances or singing kirtans or something. And it's like it doesn't even hit your brains that these are souls. They've been, sent by Krishna to go all over the world and then help Srila Prabhupada in his movement. So they are not ordinary souls, just to start off with. So how does that affect us? Well, we are disciples of such glorious spiritual masters. We can walk in their footsteps. So we may not be exactly from there. We are not from Vaikuntha right now. They are, but we are not. So this is what Tamal Krishna Maharaj said in his class. They were sent. They were sent. Like His Holiness Jayapataka Swami is known to be an associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in previous life. So is my spiritual master. He was there too. And he said so in his class. But he also remembers his life as someone who was present in the days of Ramayana. So he said in his class, I'm quoting, I did not make this up. He said, let's just say that I was swinging from the trees. Because who was swinging from the trees in the Ramayana? Who was swinging from the trees? The monkeys, yeah, and Hanuman. So, they are not ordinary souls. So, what is it that we can do? Now comes the point of the whole class. How can we apply this? It is something that we hear every day, day in, day out, for those who we preach to. We preach what? 4 regulative principles. Now, we say 4 regulative principles. The main word, the key word that I'm looking for in this class, that I'm going to stress on, is the regulating principles. Be regulated. Regulated not just means following the 4 regulative principles. Regulated means, it means that you accept things that is, as what you need, the amount, in quantity as you need it. In other words, not too much of it, not too little of it. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, material needs or material opulences is needed by each one of us. We all need some money to pay our bus fare, to pay for our personal expenses, pay for our rent. We do need money. That's material. So, just like Kardama Muni here, he's got unlimited material wealth right now. So, regulated means material needs as far as you need it. In other words, not too excessive and not too less. This is from a class by His Holiness Bir Krishna Maharaj, by the way, so it's not my own. He said that too less material opulences can give you spiritual problems. In other words, not enough money may make you depressed and in anxiety. And I don't know if you've noticed, but if you are in anxiety and depression, the quality of your chanting could be affected. Either you'd scream for Krishna, which is good, or you'll say, Krishna, I'm sorry, I'm not in the mood to chant today. I will do it another day. I'm just too depressed, much in anxiety. Or I'm not feeling enthused. I've lost my enthusiasm for chanting and devotional service. So whenever we feel like that, we must have a look at it and see, are we balancing what we have or what we need? Have we got enough of what we need? So Gurudev said in his class, sometimes we actually pig out, meaning eat too much. Not that I'm taking any shots at any one of you. You probably need the food you eat because you do a lot of hard work. book distribution, anything, and you're growing boys. So you probably need to eat a lot. So no judgment on that, obviously. But some people, say somebody of my age, we pig out. It's not good. And then the next day I go on a crash diet. So I'm up and I'm down, and I'm up and I'm down. What does that mean? Well, that's not regulated. It's not regulated, and what does it do is it can give me a stomach ache. It can give me agitation. And then what it's going to do is it's going to affect my sadhana. So is that the goal? The goal is not to be just simply regulated. The goal, obviously, the bottom line is that we should be Krishna conscious. We should be focusing on Krishna. We should be meditating on Krishna. We should focus on the holy names. But this being regulated facilitates us for that. In other words, it gives us a step up for, like, when you drive a car, first gear, second gear, third gear. So these are your gears. If you are regulated, you are in top condition. In other words, regulated in sleeping, you sleep on time, you wake up on time. In that regard, he gave him, because I was listening to his class, he gave this example. He said, it was funny actually. He said, I work from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and after that I clock out. He said, I clock out. I don't work after 6 p.m. And he told that to his godbrothers during what was it? In Mayapur, they have these meetings, like conventions, all the sannyasis, the GBC meetings. That's what it's called. The GBC meetings are held in Mayapur. And he was there. And he told his godbrothers, I work from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and after that I'm no longer available. And they were holding their meetings at night. And just imagine, and they said, oh no, this is an important GBC meeting, you've got to be there. And he said, no, I'm not going to be there. And they were shocked. They were shocked. The reason he said it that, they were shocked because he was saying that he's regulated. He gets his sleep on time. He gets the work on time. So he said, I'm sorry, but, so his fellow god brother, which is one of your gurus, His Holiness Devamrita Swami, said to him, but I'll go after 6 p.m. And my guru said, why? Because of social pressure, but it's my, health condition. He had high BP. And but Bir Krishna Maharaj said, no, I can't. It's regulated. I have this timing. The reason is that I need to sleep and I need to have regular blood pressure, BP, and I need to have my sleep so I can be, my performance or my bhakti or whatever service is doing is the best, to the best of abilities. So what they did was they in a few days, they managed to find out timing for the meeting so that everybody will be there from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. So then it was found that all the sannyasis were happy after that because they were getting their sleep. They were regulated. The whole point is regulated. So in this verse, Kardama Muni, he knows about all these things. He can shone in his glory, just like the moon. He will accept it, and later on you'll find out that he will renounce it. And what I'm saying to you, and what my spiritual master was saying in his class, is actually teaching us something very important. It's teaching us renunciation, little by little. In other words, you only take what you need, not more, not less. And what happens, there is a very, very solid point in being regulated. What happens is when you have peace of mind, you have a peaceful heart. Peaceful heart brings you to the mode of goodness. Because you are not agitated. Your eating is regulated. Your sleeping is regulated. You have mental health, good mental health, no anxiety. And you have good psychological health, emotional health. Psychological, I'll give you an example. Say somebody has done something bad to me, and I am very agitated and in anxiety, and I didn't sleep all night. because of that. So my sleeping habits is not regulated for that particular day because I am in anxiety and agitation. It affects me mentally, emotionally, psychologically. And all of that puts me or throws me off balance, and I'm no longer in the mode of goodness because I'm probably planning, tears, or maybe I'm feeling angry. It could be led me to anger, and suddenly I will slip from the mode of goodness. So this class might seem like, what is Mataji saying? But these are some very important hints and tips on how to keep your feet steady in the mode of goodness. These are little tricks that our sannyasis apply, and most certainly my guru applies this. He eats at a certain time. He also chants in a certain time. He says chanting, he regulates himself. So best chanting is done early in the morning. And that is something that I've been struggling with because since I got my job, and it is really stressful, I have long hours. So if I have long hours, I'm back at 7 p.m., I can't do Mangal Aarti. So I have to use that time to do my chanting instead of doing a Mangal Aarti. So I have to forego, sometimes I can't do that. I'm sitting here in the evenings and completing my 16 rounds. It's not nice. So it's not regulated. Because the best time for chanting is early in the morning. And the reason is he gave an example. Srila Prabhupada was chanting once. And he finished his 16 rounds. They were there, I think they were present. And Prabhupada said, "Oh, I finished my 16, my rounds, I can do any damn thing now. I can do any damn thing." So when you finish your 16, okay, my 16's done, I can go out and do whatever I want. Actually, if you do your chanting early in the morning, obviously you can do whatever you want. You will be doing some service. And you will not be in any anxiety that you haven't done your rounds. I'm in anxiety during the day. I haven't done my rounds. Honestly, I am. So I have to sit here and do 16 rounds. That's not being regulated, but what to do. So he was saying that there are certain times that you have to adjust your timings. This is actually quite proven. You prove this with something very simple that you see every day. A mother and a child. She will get her child to sleep on time, eat on time, and do whatever on time. And that's a routine we follow. And that's why Srila Prabhupada had actually established a routine for all of us. And you might think it's a boring thing to say, but actually that routine, that regulated lifestyle actually promotes the purity of our heart, no agitation, no anxiety, no BP, no high blood pressure. You are automatically in the mode of goodness all the time. And once you are in the mode of goodness, then you are able to spiritually progress at a faster rate. So you will notice, you'll say, well, okay, this devotee has not been initiated, but they appear to be, quite spiritually advanced than me. I've been in the movement for so many years. I have seen, actually one example is our very own product here in the temple, Ghanshyam Prabhu, Ghanshyam Govinda. I was initiated already and I was cooking for Radha Gopinath. He was a student, a college student or something from uni. I'm not sure which student, he was a young boy. He had come to this temple, and I'm not sure whether he remembers the story, but he was asking for blessings from every single devotee at that time who was serving Radha Gopinath. And I remember I was one of them. He came up to me and said, "Bless me, Mataji." I was standing right near Prabhupada there. I said, of course, I was a simple cook for Gopinath. And not because of my blessings, obviously, but blessings of all the Vaishnavas. But he was in the mode, in a certain mode. He just took off. And spiritually, now he is who he is, and you all see him. I've seen him from there. He was Ganesh at that time. His name was Ganesh. So I could have said, I've been in the movement for so long, and then I see devotees phew, so fast. That is the reason for that. It is their attitude towards bhakti, Krishna conscious, obviously, but they managed to keep their regulative principles aside. They're regulated, their timings, their eatings. So that really means is what Gurudev says, you accept the favorable and reject the unfavorable. That's the bottom rule. So for those of us who are practicing Krishna consciousness, you accept what is favorable, You reject what is unfavorable, and you only accept what you need, not in excess and not in small quantities. And that regulates your behavior. And once your behavior is regulated, guess what? You are in a mode of goodness, and guess what? You will not be hankering for material desires at all. You'll just be wanting what you need to serve Krishna and to keep yourself, properly in a nice manner. So that was the whole point of the class. The class was due to the fact that it kind of hit me when I was reading that Kardama Muni is full of opulences, but he still managed to keep his, self in the right mode. How? Because he knew the art of renunciation. This class, that Gurudev gave us was really to train us in renunciation and keeping ourselves regulated so that we can be in a mode of goodness, so that we advance spiritually. And for me personally, I used to write a lot of emails on guidance and Krishna consciousness and have questions about Krishna and bhakti. And at every step, he would tell me, do this, do that, do that. And I kind of did that without thinking, because he said it's fine, I'll do it like this. And suddenly I'm here. And it's not because I did it by myself. It was because of the guidance. So I've written some notes here, which I took years ago, I think 3 years ago. So I would have taken this class before. But this was some notes in order to understand why we take a guru. So I wrote here, this is from our classes from Acharyas, by the way. So there is a need in us to surrender to a bona fide spiritual master of the Lord. Because, why? Because we are bewildered. We do not know what is to be done. In other words, I didn't know when I was sort of at a very early stage in Krishna consciousness. I didn't know what needs to be done. I was quite bewildered, and I always wanted to do the right thing. So we need to have that attitude, that I want to do the right thing. I want to just take what is needed. And so because we are bewildered, so we do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. And even if we do know what is to be done or not to be done, we do not have the strength to carry it out. We do not have the strength to carry it out. So the powerhouse behind our behaviors, our actions, is basically the instructions of the spiritual master. Basically the instructions of the spiritual master. You have to get it from them. Even our chanting. Did you know that somebody who is uninitiated, the potency of chanting is diminished compared to somebody who has been given the Harinam Diksha by the spiritual master? The potency is greater. Why? Because our beads have been chanted on not just by the spiritual master, but his master and his spiritual master and his spiritual master and all that. All the potencies from all the succession line is down there on your beads that you are chanting. Your beads are very strong. Has the power of all our acharyas. So that's why we need the strength from the spiritual master. We might know it's the right thing to do. So I've written here, in other words, we always require the help of the spiritual master to either give us the proper direction to tread, or give us by which we have the strength to carry on in that proper direction. That way a disciple is properly situated in devotional service. And this all comes with following these rules, and regulative principles. But you are regulated in your sleeping habits, in your eating habits, in your association. You have a timing and routine. In that sense, Gurudev said, I will never wake up that late unless somebody is giving me $10 million or more for the temple. So that was a ceiling here at $10 million, not less than that. So I say, Gurudev, $9,999.99. No. But that was a joke. But yeah, you do make some adjustments, obviously, in the service for Krishna. But generally speaking, you are regulated. That's why he said it's really important that you stay near the temple. He actually told me never leave the temple. The reason he told me never leave the temple is because I don't have a backup of family who's Krishna conscious. They are material people, they're millionaires. And so I could easily be misguided. So then I stay near the temple. I tried to run away to Parramatta, I had to come back. So by Krishna's mercy. But this is for all of us. We need to situate ourselves where our bhakti progresses, where we are regulated, where we have directions from a spiritual master, where we can have association. And where we can renounce little by little. So then I said, okay, so in no case should we ever feel ourselves to be self-sufficient or able to function independently of the guidance of the spiritual master. So you cannot be independent. This is the safe position to be, is under the guidance of a spiritual master. The dangerous position is when we think ourselves overly intelligent and on our own we try to figure out what is the cause of action. That is never advised. Oh, this was a class by Srila Prabhupada, by the way. That's why I wrote all these things down. One should always seek the blessings, confirmations of superior Vaishnavas. So an example he gave was, just like we see Krishna Das, Kaviraj Goswami, before writing the Chaitanya Charimrita, he sought the blessings of all the Vaishnavas. He is the most senior Vaishnava himself. He is the most perfect devotee of the Lord. Still, he did not embark on translating or writing the Chaitanya Charimrita without the blessings of the superior Vaishnavas. So if we do have certain aspirations, we need to take advice from the guidance from a spiritual master or a senior Vaishnava. Even though we know what is right and what is wrong. Even though we may be, advanced spiritually. But in our case, we are not. We are all struggling souls. So that concludes our class. I will take one question, if anyone has it. Yes, Prabhu.
You're talking about regulation.
Yes.
What should one do when, life is always throws obstacles?
Yes.
Regulation is quite difficult.
Yes.
So do you have any particular tips or hints or something that you can always bounce back?
Yes, I do. Because we devotees, as we advance, the challenges are greater. You will find that when you joined the Hare Krishna movement, those were the glory days, nothing came in your way. Right? It was the case with me. Very little problems. But as we advance, the challenges are greater and greater. So what does that mean? Why is it that more advanced you are, more stronger the challenges? Is Krishna is testing you. So when something like that comes, first thing you must think, yes, I'm being tested. So once you have that knowledge that you are being tested, you are somewhat peaceful because you calm yourself down. Okay, it's Krishna's behind this. What is he teaching me? So second thing is you have to meditate. What is he teaching me? What do I need to work on? Am I not humble enough? So Gurudev actually had advised us to take responsibility for our actions. Even though we know that somebody opposing to us is blaspheming us. Could be. So there's two methods. First, you have to understand that we are advancing. That's why our challenges are getting stronger. Second, we are being tested. Krishna is watching us and let's see what you choose. Right? And thirdly, we might have some certain limitations. Like, for example, I'm slapped with a $1 million lawsuit and I don't have any money. So how am I going to pay this? Or, you have so many things to do, you don't have time. So you might have limitations. What is that teaching you? Well, that is teaching you that you need to adjust your position. Maybe you're taking on more than what you can give. So find a method or manner in which you can cope. Maybe you need to make changes. That's the third thing. Fourth thing, when that story that who wants to be a millionaire, you phone a friend, you do this, you do that. So you have to get help. Get help from someone who you trust. Because there are many people who might appear to be helpful, but not really. ISKCON is like that. They might stab you in the back. There are few people. So someone you can trust who can help you. Challenges. They are there. Sometimes it is also health. Gurudev had said in his class also that if we need sleep, we should sleep. There's no point in forcing yourself to sleep, to wake up and do something, and you are half dead by the end of the day, that you cannot perform. So your devotional service needs to be optimum. So optimize it. So do what you need to do in order to gain your strength. Sleep, eat, rest, take a break. If you need to do those things, come back. Don't take a break forever. Don't sleep forever, obviously. But do what you need to do, because the whole bottom line is that your decision should be, this is what you should tell yourself. How is my spiritual life going to be affected if I make this choice? How is my spiritual life going to be affected if I make the alternative choice? So the bottom line should be your decision, your choice, depending on your circumstance, should be the best choice for your spiritual well-being. And then if you need to consult Guru, consult Shastra, consult Sadhu. Sadhu is a Vaishnav. And make those adjustments that gives you optimum performance for your devotional service, whatever the choice. But never, ever, ever blaspheme any devotee for putting you in a situation. The reason is that will be Vaishnav aparad. Even though they have told you many times that you have caused them some kind of trouble, or you've done this or that. Never ever retaliate and say you've done the same, or you've done bad things, or you. Never. Because that will be counter Vaishnava aparad. So you stay away from those kind of traps, because that is a challenge in itself. And Prabhupada said, our love for ISKCON, for me, depends on how united we are and how we respect each other. There can be many, many situations. I was hit with a health issue. I went to the doctors. I took time off. I slept during the day, during the night. I got injections. Now I'm fine. I'm working full time, extra hours, optimum performance. What is good for your spiritual life, what is good for your material life too, because you need material. Does that answer the question? Okay. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day, everyone. Hare Krishna.